We here. Big fish shit. Ooh, ooh. Welcome to the podcast. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all learn something. And most importantly, we hope y'all elevate. Let's get it.
Big fish, hit a big lick. We gon' bet it right back and hit a big flip. We been up for a minute and we still lit. Get them cats gon' talk, but we don't feel shit. We just giving y'all gems y'all can live with. Elevate your mind, never mind all the bullshit. Finna talk about stocks, we ain't worry about ops. First get the bread up, then buy back the whole block. 10 toes down, we ain't never gonna stop. I'm a man of my word, I ain't never gonna flop. If I said it, then I meant it. Real ones gon' respect it, and it's still OG. It's in me, I represent it.
Big fish shit. Let me get the mic right. Ooh, ooh. One time. All right, Big Fish Podcast. Y'all know what it is. This is going to be, and I know I always say this, a quicker show. But, just wanted to hit y'all with a very direct, straight to the point. This is more of like a solutions-based show to where, we always kind of discuss different topics and whatnot. But this is going to focus more on, how to use a perceived disadvantage to our advantage. So, what is the topic of this show? I don't know about a title, but I'll give you the topic. All right. So, racism, white supremacy, now what? So, once again, the topic of this show, title/topic, whatever, racism, white supremacy, now what? So, what do I mean by all this? So, we obviously, we live in America. We all know the history with slavery. Most of us don't know the history before that. And depending on who you're asking, I guess you'll get different answers. However, one thing that we can agree on is the situation that we're all in right now. So, racism, white supremacy, now what? So we all know racism exists. We touched on it on the other podcast a little bit where, just the fact that we're still complaining about it in a certain way, in the same way, I should say, that we were complaining about it before. It seems like and I gotta be a little sensitive about this. Well, I don't I won't. Racism is the most natural thing on the planet, and what it is giving your group advantages over another group. It's natural. You're going to do what's in the best interest of your family before you do what's in the best interest of the family down the street or the family on the other side of town. It's just going to happen. Anybody who says otherwise is lying. And that's where all this racism stems from. It's like the jungle. The lion's going to do what's in the best interest of the lion, not what's in the best interest of the gazelle. Lion doesn't really care about the best interest of the gazelle. The lion doesn't care about the best interest of the lion that's in the next neighborhood or the next jungle, because that's only seen as a threat to his kingdom. And when we see things through this lens, as savage as it may sound, it's the reality of the situation. And anybody who tells you differently is probably either very much not informed, or they're just trying to pacify you in a way of, a competitor would pacify you to say like, oh, no, don't worry about it. You guys are doing well, because they don't want you to compete against them. So racism, white supremacy, now what? What this combo is going to address is using your perceived disadvantages to your advantage. And what do I mean by that? I mean, what are the common misconceptions or prejudices about when it comes to when I look at myself and black people in general? Black people are lazy. All you can do is play sports or be entertainers. When I look at myself, somebody, let's say muscular, black, with locks, oh, they're scary. They can't speak well. We are too emotional. We like looking good better than winning. And I heard somebody over the past month or so talking about how prejudices, they only work if you actually provide people with images and examples of you actually carrying out those prejudices. Let me give you an example. And this, however you see it, it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily matter. Just walk with me on this example. If we, let's say, if one of the prejudices we're too emotional, and I'm only bringing that up because the last show was on emotions. If somebody calls an entire race emotional, but for the most part, that entire race and their leaders do not represent their culture and their people like that, then it would be very hard for people to use that as a tag on us. It's less believable. However, when you act too emotional and you give people all of these images of you behaving, too emotionally, or they just think that they can manipulate you based on you being too emotional, then obviously that's going to be something that may go from a prejudice to something that, hey, that's just how they are. Neither here nor there. Sorry, my allergies kicking my butt. However, use all of these disadvantages or these perceived disadvantages and prejudices to your advantage. It's no different than sports. If I'm going against another sports team and they don't think that I'm very good, that is an advantage for me. That is an advantage for me because they're not likely to prepare for me as much as they would prepare for somebody that they did see as a big threat. So let me say that one more time. And I relate everything to sports. If we're getting ready to play, let's say in high school, or let's use, people all over hopefully are watching. So I'll use a bigger example. If, let's say, what's the top team? If the Kansas City Chiefs are getting ready to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not even really sure who's the worst team in the NFL, but one of the worst teams in the NFL, let's say they're playing Jacksonville. They are probably going to be, even though they will say, no, we prepare for every team the same, they're going to prepare for them a little bit differently than if they're playing Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. It's going to be more of a challenge. So therefore, they're going to need to hold themselves to a different level of accountability. Now, the great teams, they're going to be able to hold themselves to that same level of accountability no matter who they're playing. However, the reality of the situation is, if you believe that this team has demonstrated, whether you believe it or not, this team has demonstrated that they are not very good, you're not going to prepare for them in the same way that another team who is very good, regardless of what you say, what you should do, what's ideal. So with that being said, when it comes to us as a people, black people, let's make no mistake. We are at the bottom. We are losing. We've been losing for a very long time. People see us as losers. People see us as all those things that I just named. However, let's use it to our advantage. And instead of even bringing it up, or, I'm very big on accountability. Instead of focusing on what other people think about us or other people and the tactics that they use to try to keep us as losers, and it's almost gotten to the point where it's become systematic, so they don't even really have to do much that you can kind of pinpoint, because it's almost like a system that's just working. It's a smooth running system right now. It's like they set up the foundation, and now everything's just, hey, you don't have to add much, just let it ride. We're pretty much doing it to ourselves now. And when I say doing it to ourselves, I'm talking about whenever we focus on what the competition can do to improve our situation more than we focus on what we can do to improve our situation, then the process is just going to continue on its own, because we shouldn't be focusing on trying to make the rules fair. Why? Because we're not in a power position to even try to pull off something like that. What you do is you win first. You win. And then from a power position, a power play, then if you need to adjust the rules and put the rules that would be more favorable to you and your people, then you do such. However, It's almost like we spend more time. The rules are never going to be fair. It's never going to be fair. Remember, I said it's the jungle. The lion is never, in his pride, is never going to care more about the lion down the street. The lion in his pride is going to give his pride every single advantage and opportunity that they can to put their cubs in the best position to be just as powerful or more powerful than they are. It's a race, right? Racism, so it's a race. We're racing. I'm not going to, if I'm racing against somebody, I'm not going to say, hey, let me help you out a little bit or let me slow down a little bit. No, we're racing. I'm full speed ahead. If I'm up 50, I'm trying to go up 100. And anybody, any politician, any spiritual leader, any leader in general who tells you anything else is lying. This is a competition. Nobody is ever going to give up their seat at Ruth's Chris or Morton's or STK, Capitol Grill, to let you, who is eating at McDonald's, sit there and say, oh, I'll eat at McDonald's for. Nobody's going to do that. Life doesn't work that way, especially not in the capitalist environment that we are in. Am I complaining about being in capitalist? No, I'm not. If you teach me the rules, I can play the game. Once I know the rules, at this point, they ain't got to teach us the rules. And maybe there are no rules. Maybe that's what we've learned. We always try to play by the rules, by these rules, right? If I know what it takes to win, and I know how others are winning, and I know how others are beating me, then I can adapt, I can adjust, and I can win. I can work harder than you. I can stay up longer than you. I can put in more work than you. I should be more motivated than you. Why are you that continues to win more motivated than me who continues to lose? I should be hungrier. I'm starving. So I'm going to use every single advantage. When you see me and you see me as down here, then I'm going to use that to my advantage and win at all costs. Then once I get up here, then what's natural to do? We're going to start leveling out this playing field so the rest of my people can get on. And that it won't necessarily have to be as difficult, because that's what you do from a power position. You put your people in a better position to win. But you can only do that when you win. You can only do that from a power position. We talked about on the last podcast about negotiating from a weak position. You can't, to me, if your strategy is simply just asking people who have an advantage or people who may be, doing a little bit better than us, winning, you're asking your competition to level out the playing field to make it a little bit easier for you to compete with them. Listen to how crazy that sounds. And I don't care whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. I don't care whether it's people acting like they're on your side. They don't want you to win either, because then you'll be competing with them. And every other culture seems to understand this but us. And it made me think about, I was thinking about a few friends and just people in general that I observe. And isn't it funny and rather ironic how people at the bottom, people losing, always are the ones trying to help other people who are already doing better and winning to improve, because they're scared to focus on their own shit. Let me say that again. People at the bottom who are doing the worst and losing are always the ones that will spread themselves thin to help somebody else on a different team win, or to point the finger at other people on their team to say, hey, you could be doing this, you could be doing, when you could be doing shit on your own, but you're only putting your energy on their efforts and in their lives because you're scared to fix your own shit. And you'll make yourself as busy as possible to avoid holding yourself accountable and addressing your own shit. Now, let me relate that when it comes to black people. Now, when you look at black people in general, we stand up for this group, for that group. Oh my God, it's terrible what's happening at the border. Oh my God, it's terrible what's happening to this group that's getting bullied. It's terrible. I'm not saying that these people don't deserve to have people standing up for them, but what I do recognize is that nobody stands up for us with the energy that we stand up for them. And if we are doing so bad, what is that? When you get on the airplane, what do they say? Put your mask on first. You have to be good within. You have to address your own stuff first to ensure your own survival before you can go out there helping another group survive. Does that sound rude? Does that sound ruthless? Maybe it does. However, I'm just observing that how a group that continues to help and care about everybody else's cause gets little or no support from those groups when it comes to our issues. And I'm not saying that they're supposed to. I'm mad at us for not putting us first. Every other group puts themselves first. Number one rule in survival: put your people first. Put yourself first. So, like I said, I was going to make this one quick and direct. Racism, white supremacy, now what? What's the solution? We have to change our perspective. We have to go from do we have legit complaints? Is it unfair? Yes. Is it going to continue to be unfair? Yes. Especially if we don't do what is necessary to win, which is focusing on ourselves. We cannot base our success and whether we win or lose based on, once things are a little bit more fair or once we can level out the playing field, then we can start winning. But we have to focus on it does not work like that. And it's almost to the point where other groups that were asking for help or please, can you make this a little bit more fair for us? You actually believe that they have your best interests at heart, and they don't. And they never will. They never will. So for us to sit here and base whether or not we survive, whether or not we succeed, whether or not we win on whether the situation is fair, that's crazy. We need to just strictly look at this with accountability. What can I do? What can I do better? Okay, it's unfair, so that means I need to work harder. That means I need to work longer. I need to use every advantage that I have on my end to win. Period. Nothing else matters. And the only people that tell you that other things do matter are people that are trying to keep you at the bottom or people that are scared to put in the work, what it takes to win as an underdog. We got to change our culture. We have a losing culture. A losing culture. And by losing culture, I mean, you ever been on a losing team where, there's just no accountability, where it's like, well, at least we didn't lose by 30 this time. Loser mentality. Well, the refs they were just after us. Loser mentality. Yo, man, every time we play at their field, they always cheat. They always cheat. They pay. Loser mentality. Yo, they were just bigger and better than us, man. Loser mentality. You know what winners focus on? Winners focus on themselves. They don't focus on external factors that they can't control. They focus on themselves, stuff that they can control. Why focus on something that you can't control? Why give it your energy? Why give it your focus? You can't afford to do that. We're losing. We can't afford to just give away energy. Our energy needs to be intentional and directed solely in areas that will contribute directly to us winning. Period. That's it. You think all I can do is play football? You think that I can't communicate? You think that I can't speak? All these things you think I'm too emotional. I use that every day in my day-to-day life. Every day. I'm surrounded by people that probably think that, and then you get to the point where it's like, you're the token. I've had certain people tell my partner, oh my God, you must be so proud of David. where he comes from to be able to, to speak the way what, bro? First off, you're assuming that I come from somewhere that I don't. Just because when you see black people, you think that everybody's growing up in this just terrible environment, needles on the ground when you walk outside. No, that's not where I grew up. And the goal for us should be to never have our kids growing up in the same place or a worse space that we grew up. So how can we do that? You cannot continue to do the same thing, because it's not like the people winning, they're continuing to get higher and higher and higher. So if you just stay the same, then you're technically getting worse because they're growing. So as they're growing and things are easier, so what? You have to get to the point where you catch up ground. You catch up ground. Remember in the track races? Somebody come from the, ooh, yeah, we need more of that. We need more of that. And all it takes is a mental switch, just changing our perspective, because once we start to gain ground, it's going to become addicted. We will be addicted to it. We'll be addicted to it, but it's going to take a lot of work, because it is unfair. The playing field's not level. We all know. So what? It's going to take a lot of work. But I tell you this, like, all of that work, you would think that we would be hungry to make that happen. We can't just live through the few celebrities that are doing well. Hey, I don't know about y'all, but if they could do well, then I feel I could do better. That's just how my mind works. I could do just as well or better than them. And that's across the board. That's the competition. We can win, but we first got to believe that we can win. And the strategy should be to use every single perceived disadvantage and criticism of us to our advantage. I hope you think I'm too lazy, because I'm going to outwork you and everybody else at that top level I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how much work it takes. I don't care. I'm stopping at nothing, and I'm coming for that spot. And you're going to feel me on that. You're going to feel me breathing down your neck, and you're going to get nervous. Now you're going to have a little pressure on yourself, because you can no longer finesse me into thinking that I should be at this bottom, or I'm just not even going, like I said, we're holding ourselves accountable. I don't even care about you finessing me. I don't care what tactics you try to use to keep me at the bottom. I don't even hear it. I don't see it. If anything, it's just added motivation, because I'm focused. I'm focused on catching you. So when you feel me breathing down your neck, you're getting nervous. And that's the mindset that we have to have. We're coming. Regardless of any disadvantage that we have, we're coming. So the takeaway with the topic racism, white supremacy, now what? The now what is we're competing. We're not making excuses. We are competing. We're winning. We are winners. We've adjusted our mindset. We've adjusted our perspective. We're willing to work harder. We're willing to work longer. And most importantly, we're willing to work smarter. All right? Big fish shit.
Big fish shit. We here. Big fish shit. Ooh, ooh.
Welcome to the podcast. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all learn something. And most importantly, we hope y'all elevate. Let's get it.
Big fish, hit a big lick. We gon' bet it right back and hit a big flip. We been up for a minute and we still lit. Yeah, them cats gon' talk, but we don't feel shit. We just giving y'all gems y'all can live with. Elevate your mind, never mind all the bullshit. Finna talk about stocks, we ain't worry about ops. First get the bread up, then buy back the whole block.
Big fish shit.
10 toes down, we ain't never gonna stop. I'm a man of my word, I ain't never gonna flop. If I said it, then I meant it. Real ones gon' respect it, and it's still OG. It's in me, I represent it.